Welcome to Mindflow Radio.
Mindflow Radio.
She's Jaylyn.
And he's Monty.
So buckle your seatbelts and get ready to take a trip towards reality.
Reality.
The great mystery.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to dive deeper into self-esteem today.
Self-esteem. Yeah, it's self-esteem such an interesting aspect of the human existence. And in my work as a therapist, I mean, before I was a therapist, I used to consider self-esteem as the most important aspect of psychological health. Because if we have good self-esteem or decent self-esteem, again, it's a continuum, from great self-esteem to terrible self-esteem. But if we're on more of the positive end of things, we just are naturally more resilient, more kind, I would say, and less fearful.
What goes through my mind is, how does one define self-esteem in the healthy sense? Because I feel that some people may think they have good self-esteem, but it's more based in judgment, possibly.
Well, one way to determine our self-esteem is just listen to your self-talk. Talk to yourself. And if you have lots and lots and lots of negative self-talk, negative internal dialogue, that tends to really hamper our self-esteem. And it's an interesting component to living in this culture, is that we're kind of trained to have lots of negative self-talk in a way where we're not supposed to feel complete unless we make so much money, drive this kind of car, have this kind of clothes, have this look, right? This be able to, I mean, and the list kind of goes on and on. Basically anything they can sell, we're supposed to have.
Sure.
And if we don't have it, the answer, according to the commercials on TV at least, is that we need to make more money so that we can buy it. And then the idea is then you have the Corvette, and then you have the really great clothes, and you have a really nice haircut, and you're, perfect, whatever.
Nice
and
nails.
Then, your nails look great, and you have nice jewelry.
And shoes.
You have really nice shoes, for sure. And also, you have like lots and lots and lots of insurances to cover everything. And then you can just relax because you have everything you could possibly need. And you have insurance, and your insurance ensures that everything is going to be fine. But it doesn't. I'm just kidding on that. It's a ploy, right, to sell another product. But anyway, I grew up personally. I can say I grew up in this culture that promotes negative self-esteem.
Oh, yeah.
Essentially. And then
I feel that has been getting worse over the years. I mean, if you remember back, I think it was before COVID, if I remember right, and there was a string of young teen girls committing suicide because of Instagram something or other and feeling like they just couldn't compare. And there was this whole issue that happened, and that was my first alarm system that went off with the social media and how it affects social or self-esteem.
Right. I mean, and there's more to it than that too, just from the perspective of if we're staring at social media all day long, we just naturally are going to feel depressed when we're not on. I mean, it's just like agitated or scared. So there's that.
Drained of dopamine.
Yeah, there's that added effect to also like looking at, oh, I wish I looked like that, or I wish I had that, I wish I had that, I wish I looked like that. I'm worthless because I don't. Right? That's the messaging. If you don't have this stuff, if you don't have the looks, if you don't have whatever, you're worthless. That's the media's message to the masses.
Yeah.
And that's what I realized when I was, I'm talking in the 90s when I one day it just struck me. It's like, oh, we're all brainwashed. I was like, whoa, we're all brainwashed. It's like, that's what it seemed like to me, at least. And I remember just walking down the street in Milwaukee and looking at the tall buildings on both sides of me, all these condos, and I'm thinking, wow, everybody's brainwashed. It's like, whoa. And then for me, it was the search of what was the source of the brainwashing. So that was really an interesting.
And it ended up being media?
Well, I knew the media played a huge role in it, but who runs the media?
Oh.
Who runs the media? That's the question. And then the question is, the biggest question that I was unable to answer at that point was, well, is it just a self-perpetuating system? Like, are we all are like the leaders of the media just as brainwashed as everybody else, and it just kind of perpetuates?
Yeah.
Or are there a few elites on the tippy top that have just control the people who control the media, who can, and just... Yeah. So that was the question in my mind, but it was just really evident that that was the case, that we were all, essentially brainwashed through, staring at these screens. And then when you really look at what it's like to stare at a screen, if you'd be an alien coming down into this planet and watching everybody like just looking at their phones or looking at the TV and just ingesting all this data. Mm-hmm. Just the nature of it too, all the flickering lights and the moving and the sounds and it's like this hypnosis machine. I mean, if you look at it from that perspective, it's really quite interesting and eye-opening and rather disturbing, especially when I find myself looking at the screen too much, because then I know that I'm actively just participating.
Actively allowing yourself to be brainwashed.
But I want to say, though, that today is day 5 for my media fast. So no YouTube, no Facebook, no media, no news, etc.
Good.
Yeah.
So back to self-esteem.
Yes.
I am thinking about how we have this rather big obstacle of the media and comparing ourselves to others. Yeah. That has created this difficulty in having self-esteem. Yeah. And then there's this confusion around having so much, I don't know if self-esteem is the right word, but so much self-centered focus that we're actually harming people around us because we're so focused on the self. Yeah. And that can feel like self-esteem, like, well, I'm just taking care of myself and that means I have good self-esteem. Right. So I feel like the self-esteem in itself is this nuanced thing that I know there's a healthy version, but then there's everything else that people, myself included, have wrestled with. Well, I have poor self-esteem, and so how do I go about that? And my search for self-esteem I'd say step 1 is still learning how to not compare myself to others, because I have a fairly strong inferiority complex and feel like pretty much everyone is above me or has control over my situation, or it's hard for me to have the sovereignty necessary probably for self-esteem. Well, I mean, what I would suggest, and this is the way I'm able to feel better, basically, is just really recognize that I have like the spark of the divine within me, and then if I can recognize that, and then I see it in everybody else, and then we're all equal. It's like, oh man, we're all equal. All of us, even that, you see that movie star, you see that sports star on TV over there,
It's just the
I have a
ultimate
serious complex. If somebody's famous, I literally can't speak to them. If I think highly of someone and I'm afraid that they'll think I'm stupid, then I literally sound stupid because I stutter and I can't say a full sentence. And it's so weird because you hear me now. I know this is going out to however many people it's going out. I'm not fearful of that. But if you're someone that I look up to, like me meeting my Qigong teacher, I felt like such a dork because I had a hard time acting normal because I looked up to him so much. And so it's just this really strange
shout out to Tevi
phenomena.
And White Tiger, just saying.
Yeah,
shout out to them.
Grateful for White Tiger Qigong so much. It's changed my life.
And there's a Zen story about a Zen, longtime Zen practitioner. He's in a monastery, and they're like, man, you're enlightened. And then he met like the king or something. And then he came back from that and he goes, I'm going on retreat for 5 years. They say, why? Because my palms were sweating when I met, this guy. And he's just another, so that's an age.
So funny.
Yeah. That's an age-old struggle.
Yeah.
But it is like, according to the Zen master, or he turned into a Zen master after he came back out of the woods after 5 more years or whatever it was. But it's like again, for him, it was a test. Can I just stay as balanced and centered as I usually am when I meet this uber famous, uber powerful person? And that's tough. And
I also feel like it could be a flip side too, where it's hard to feel equanimity when someone that has hurt you in the past is now in the room with you.
Well, sure.
And that's another one. It's like kind of almost like a famous person where they're famous in your book because you were hurt by them.
Yeah. So then you naturally get more easily triggered.
Yeah.
Or you're triggered because they're even just around because they've been like abusive or whatever. Right? Whatever it is.
Whatever it is. But it's just like a phenomena that, and the easiest thing to do is to be like, I'm out, and kind of puff up the chest. Like,
well, and there are so many variables in that particular scenario relative just to the amount of abuse, the type of, whatever happened is like, it's going to be different. And if you have high self-esteem, perhaps the best thing is to leave at that point. It just depends on the situation.
Sure.
But if you can maintain your equanimity, that's like that'd be a tremendous test, certainly. And if we have higher self-esteem, then we kind of feel good about ourselves, and we're going to act accordingly. We're going to take better care of ourselves.
Okay.
Leave if we need to, stay, maybe talk it over. Maybe that's the solution of that particular. Hey, or just like forgive and forget. Or forgive, not forget, but just forgive. Who knows? There's a lot of different.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways that can go.
But the bottom line is, if you have good self-esteem, you're vastly more likely to choose the right behavior, the right action to deal with various situations.
Yeah, I guess I was showing the two sides of the spectrum of challenge for self-esteem. And I think, and I'm not really one to speak too much on this. It's definitely a contemplation, but it's not something that I've figured out. And it seems to me kind of like where you were going with the king or the monk having sweaty palms because the king was there. Yeah. It's like, so I would imagine that a sign of self-esteem would be to, when you live in a small town and all these different people have their different, I want to say arch enemy, but that's the wrong word. but somebody who's hurt them that they were close with and now they don't want to see them anymore. And you're in a small town and you run into them at the grocery store or at a party or at the dance club or, there's only so many places to hang out. And I know that this is something that a lot of people that I know deal with because we all don't get along. And there's always somebody that hurt somebody. And this is just like a human phenomena of challenge. Yeah. And how does one maintain healthy self-esteem, notice the palms are sweaty, notice their own reaction versus go, oh, they're here, and it's like,
well, you're right. If you can notice yourself, and you could be regulating your breathing at that time. So you can, instead of just pointing fingers and judging and being hateful or whatever, or fearful or whatever it is, we can like take that energy and point it inwards. And what's my posture like? What's my breathing like? I'm going to try and see the soul in this person. I'm going to try and see the soul in myself. We can like work the situation a bit.
Is that self-esteem?
Well, it leads to self-esteem. I would say the more empowered you are over your
reactions.
Yeah. I mean, and we're all going to freak out from time to time. And,
sure.
I mean, but if we're able to come back to balance quicker, and if we're able to judge less, then I would say people with higher self-esteem, would most likely be able to recover quicker from challenging situations and just deal with difficult situations more effectively, perhaps.
So would you say that higher self-esteem leads to equanimity?
Both. Okay. I would say it's, if you have equanimity, you're just naturally going to have higher self-esteem, I think. And if you have higher self-esteem, you probably will have better equanimity. But equanimity is something we can all train on. How to self-regulate. Yeah. That's what equanimity is, being able to regulate, having that resilience. That's a big word in psychology. How resilient are you, but we can train to become more resilient. And I don't know, a mind skill, a trick, or not a trick, but just a mind hack that I use, and I mentioned this earlier, is just to see everybody as a soulful being. And then from that perspective, we're all just these confused God beings trying our best. And we're here for 100 years, which is like a flash of lightning. So let's not take things too seriously. We tend to like bend things, way out of proportion because we don't understand. It's like that YOLO philosophy, which is just such it's laughable to me. You only live once, whatever that means. So that puts a lot of pressure on this oh shit, I got to get that car then.
Yeah.
It's like.
Yeah, there is that as well. Being a human is such a complicated subject in itself,
well, it is.
And there's the grounded present moment of I'm a human, I exist here now. Yeah. Whatever's beyond this doesn't matter because I'm right here, right now. And I guess that's maybe a Stoic view or a very natural-minded, Taoist, Yes. And then there's the more of a spiritual connection where people connect with a deity, maybe God, Jesus, Allah, Rama, there's so many, so many to choose from. And so because of this spiritual connection, therefore they can handle being a human. And that's definitely where I've resided a little more comfortably, because when I just try to imagine I'm just a human and this is it, I start to get really depressed and sad about it. So for me, it helps to have that spiritual outlook. But there's plenty of people who are atheists who seem to have a fair life,
Sure,
and
absolutely.
So there's these levels of self-esteem related to simply being a human. And how does one be an animal spirit creature?
Yeah, that's true. And like, if we really have a strong spiritual belief, we are valuable by just being here. There's value to being alive as a human, and that helps with self-esteem right there. I'm valuable. I'm this amazing, deluded, confused God creature.
That helps with self-esteem.
Yeah. Well, the God creature part helps. But it's good to be realistic and know that we're not like, we don't have it all figured out. And,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me too, I imagine, at least recently I've been playing with the idea like of the angels, like angels surrounding us that we don't see them, right? But they're there
all the time.
Fairly likely they're there.
No, I mean, we don't see them all the time.
Right. Well, maybe some Steiner said he could see them all the time, but who knows? But
yeah,
I've been envisioning them as globes of light that kind of surround us. And the more we meditate, perhaps we earn another globe or something like that. I think there might be some kind of, who knows? This is all just this wild guessing game.
Yeah.
It's like the greatest detective mystery of all time. It's like
that we don't ever get to know the answer to.
Well, we do, but it's
unsolved case.
Well, unsolved case until we know,
Yeah. And I've thought about that too, that we all will find out when we die. And it's like, well, maybe. Will we?
Yeah, right.
That still is not known.
Right.
There is zero known, other than we appear to exist here and now.
Yeah,
we appear to be this human family that fights amongst themselves.
Yes,
we appear to be easily hurt emotionally by others.
Yes.
And generally would prefer to blame than to grow and take responsibility of our side. And there's these apparent issues of being a human, but in reality, these are all just energies that we think we're tapping into. And like you said before, we're all creating reality in this moment as it is. And that boggles my mind. But it's like, are we? Is this all just are we actually just there is no gravity? We're just imagining gravity. And we're not actually cells glued together. We're actually floating particles in some outer space thing.
Well, I mean... Yeah, that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to understand that perhaps we're vastly more powerful than we understand. That we're God beings and we're super powerful, only we don't get it.
Yeah.
We don't get it because we're trained to feel powerless. The society we live in, maybe the human culture is like, you are powerless. Individually, you're powerless. Powerless. So everybody's walking around, I'm powerless, and that's low self-esteem right there. Mm-hmm. But for me, it's like, I'm really grappling with the idea that I'm like actually way more powerful than I understand, and just having that question in my mind. Am I like way more powerful than I realize? Oh, that's cool. I'm going to try and explore this further, and just that's the kind of game I'm playing these days. Mm-hmm. And I hope a lot of us are, because it's exciting. It's adventurous.
Yeah.
It's like beyond the pale of what most of us ever even consider.
Yeah.
But maybe now's the time we start considering it.
Yeah.
And then as we start playing that game, then boom, we naturally just feel better.
Nice. Yeah. So to kind of pull it back around to self-esteem and tie this up neatly, what's coming to my mind is in yoga, the third chakra is a lot about self-esteem. And that's like,
solar plexus?
Yeah, the solar plexus.
Cool.
So above the belly button, below the ribs.
Yeah.
And that includes the stomach, the spleen, the pancreas, the liver, and the kidneys, and the gallbladder. And this area is so vital to our health. And if any one of those organs is off, we experience a lot of pain and sickness.
The solar plexus, too, is like one of the most vulnerable areas in our body, for sure. And it's interesting because if you bring the solar plexus forward, postural awareness, bring your solar plexus forward and your head up. But if the solar plexus come forward, guess what? You feel more confident.
Yeah,
and they've done studies on
confidence and self-esteem are definitely...
Yeah, university studies, better posture equals more confidence. So that's directly working with that solar plexus.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of cool. That's an area that I spend a lot of time focusing on when I'm walking down the street. Bring that forward. Just like, I feel like that's perhaps, in my imaginary world, like the soul is located there. Perhaps.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what and that's why I think, if you get hit there really hard, you can die.
Yeah.
It might just.
It's so shocking for the body because there's no protection and the vital organs are right there. And so.
Well, it just, you completely lose your breath for some reason. I've gotten hit there before.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but anyway, it's a good area to bring forward. And
I focus on this in meditation a lot because I've been working on containing my energy because I hit adrenal fatigue and exhaustion and basically drained my whole being of vital life force energy. Yeah. And I've been doing Qigong for, over a year daily, but I was really focusing on circulating the Qi. And I needed to shift that because I was still exhausted, and I changed to containing Qi. And so I work with the solar plexus and generally put my hands over the solar plexus and then imagine that there's a small sphere of light in the center of my solar plexus. And as I inhale, it expands to fill the whole physical body, maybe beyond the body. And then as I exhale, it goes back to a small ball of light. And in this, I imagine that it's charging my kidneys up and it's refilling my battery. And I've been noticing that it's helping a lot. So I know in many different styles of yoga, there's a great emphasis on the third chakra and self-esteem and having a proper balance of self-esteem and loving others. There's this balance that needs to be struck to truly be healthy and live a meaningful life.
Yeah, you're here.
All right. So, that's what I have to say about that.
Okay. Well, life's a great adventure. Let's just keep working on improving our self-esteem if possible.
Yeah.
And just keep everything into perspective and have a joyous time.
Yeah.
At least some of the time. Find that joy, find the peace some of the time.
Yeah.
More and more, as much as possible.
Yeah. It's definitely possible to feel calm and peaceful in this world.
Yeah.
I feel that the more we feel calm and peaceful, the more meaningful life gets, the easier self-esteem is, and on it goes.
Yeah, I just want to say my last little bit on self-esteem is if we can get to that transcendental spot in our minds where we're actually not thinking anymore, we're just being. Mm-hmm. Transcendental awareness, transcending the thinking mind, then we just naturally feel better. Mm-hmm. So it's like if we go below that, if we're not, that's where the self-esteem is. Because do I have good self-esteem? Don't I have good that whole the chattering mind thing. But if we can transcend the chattering mind for moments every day, then we're just naturally going to feel better.
I like that. All right. Well, I want to let y'all know that we have a website out there with a free gift for you. And it's 7 strategies for peace, or 7, I can't remember what it's called. 7 strategies to reset a peaceful existence, or
that's not what it's called, but
something,
it's something
like that.
Cool. And
that we made.
What is the website?
Mindflowradio.life.
Mindflowradio.life. Yeah, and it's a good ebook, actually.
Yeah, we both put our heads together for our 7 favorite skills.
All right.
And you are welcome to go pick that up. So until next time, be well, y'all.
Yeah, peace and love.